If your car has been in a collision and the bumper gets damaged, there's a decision being made that could absolutely affect how your vehicle performs in the next crash. And here's the problem. That decision is often treated like it's just cosmetic. It's not. Today we're going to talk about what General Motors just said about bumper fascia systems and why it matters to you long after the repair is finished. I'm going to walk you through exactly what GM is warning about, what can go wrong if this is ignored, and how this ties directly into the way that insurance companies often try to control the repair process. Because by the end of this video, you're going to understand why something that looks minor on the surface can have major consequences in a future collision. Hey everybody, my name is Eric with Nylunds Collision Center in Inglewood, Colorado. We are a Lexus and Lucid authorized and Toyota certified repair facility. And this is another episode of the Airing of Grievances, where we talk about what's really happening in the collision repair industry and what it means for you as a consumer. General Motors recently released a position statement specifically addressing bumper fascia systems. Now, most people hear bumper and think, well, that's just plastic. But that's not how the manufacturer sees it. According to GM, the bumper fascia is a part of a system, not just a cover, not just a cosmetic panel, a system. And that system is designed to work together with energy absorbers, reinforcement bars, sensors, mounting structures, all engineered to behave in a very specific way during a collision. GM makes it clear that how these components are repaired, replaced, or refinished matters. And more importantly, improper repairs can change how that system performs in a future crash. Let's bring this down to real life. You get into an accident, your bumper is damaged. The assumption from a lot of people is it's just a bumper. But that bumper is part of the first line of defense in a collision. It's designed to absorb energy and distribute impact forces, to protect underlying structures and work with the advanced safety systems, and that's where things start to break down. If that system is improperly repaired or reused when it shouldn't be, refinished incorrectly, or replaced with something that doesn't meet OEM specifications, you may not notice anything until the next accident. And at that point, it's too late. GM's position statement highlights several key concerns. They specifically warn against practices that can compromise the integrity of the bumper fascia system. That includes things like using repair methods that are not approved by the manufacturer, ignoring material limitations, especially with modern plastics and composites, applying refinish processes that can alter how material behaves under stress, and reusing components that are designed to be replaced after a collision. And here's the important part. These are not suggestions. These are engineering-based requirements tied to vehicle safety performance. When those procedures aren't followed, you're no longer driving a vehicle that performs the way that it was designed to. There's another part of GM's position statement that's easy to miss, but it may be the most important piece of all, and it has to do with paint thickness and body filler on the bumper fascia. Now, most people would never think twice about that. Paint is paint, right? Well, not so much. Modern vehicles have advanced driver assistance systems, ADAS. Things like parking sensors, blind spot monitoring, adaptive cruise control systems, collision avoidance features, and many of those systems are positioned right behind or through the bumper fascia. That means the bumper isn't just structural, it's also part of how your vehicle sees the world around it. GM makes it clear that adding too much material to that surface, whether it's excessive paint thickness, improper refinishing, or body filler used to reshape or repair damage, can interfere with how those systems work. In simple terms, if that bumper is too thick, those sensors may not read correctly. They can become less accurate, delayed in response, or in some cases, unreliable. And here's the problem. There's no warning light that says your bumper was painted too thick. Everything can appear completely normal until the moment that that system is supposed to respond and it doesn't behave the way that it was designed to. So now we're not just talking about structural performance in a future collision, we're also talking about real-time safety systems that you rely on every time you drive. And once again, The thing comes back to how the repair was performed and whether the manufacturer guidelines are actually being followed. So how does this actually play out in the real world? That's where insurance enters the picture, because insurance companies are often focused on cost control, saving the most amount of money. And when a repair decision is being made, there's pressure to repair instead of replace, reuse instead of install new, choose less expensive alternatives. Now, on paper, that might look reasonable, but the question that often doesn't get asked is, does this align with the manufacturer's requirements? Because if it doesn't, then the repair may not restore the vehicle to its pre-loss condition, and that's the standard your policy is supposed to meet. Here's the part that should concern every driver. When a bumper system is compromised, you may never know. Your car can look perfect, paint can match, everything can appear normal, but the performance of that system in a future collision may be very different. Energy may not be absorbed in the same way. Forces may transfer differently through the vehicle. Safety systems may not respond as intended, and those differences can affect vehicle damage severity, repair costs in a future accident, and most importantly, occupant safety. And that is not about appearance. This is about how your vehicle protects you when it matters most. So, what can you do with all this information? Well, first, you can understand that you have a choice in where your vehicle is repaired. Second, ask direct questions. Are you following OEM procedures for my vehicle? Are any parts being repaired that should be replaced? How does this align with the manufacturer's position statements? And third, recognize that not all repairs are equal. There's a difference between making a car look right and making a car perform the way that it was designed to. GM didn't release this position statement by accident. It exists because these issues are actually happening in the real world. And when manufacturers take the time to clarify how a system should be handled, it's worth paying attention. Because at the end of the day, this isn't about bumpers. It's about whether your vehicle will respond the way it should if you ever need it to again. When GM talks about something as specific as paint thickness on a bumper, that should tell you something. These vehicles are engineered as complete systems, and when even small details are ignored, the consequences aren't always visible, but they are very real. Here at Nylund's Collision Center, we never cut corners when it comes to your safety. If your insurer won't pay to make you whole, maybe you should pay a different insurer. Thanks for watching all the way to the end. I really do appreciate it, and I hope that you have a great weekend. Happy Saturday, and if you found this helpful, go ahead and click on the video that YouTube is suggesting for you, because chances are it's going to help you better understand how to protect yourself after a collision.